So hello everybody, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and this is a quick, short countdown timer to help the various feeds catch up with one another and settle down. And we just hope that LinkedIn's working today. It doesn't always work for us, so fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed. So on Leaders Live today, we reveal the enchanting power of the serendipity in networking. And we're hanging out with our very own contributor, Jonas Grau Thomsen, UNICEF's Assistive Technology and Partnership Specialist. Wow, that is one heck of a job title. And our theme is Networking Alchemy, folks, Networking Alchemy, and unveiling the magic of serendipity. I hope you like the Christmas countdown scene as well. And Sarah's online, that's good. So we'll come to Mrs. Moderator in a moment. So give us a quick wave, Jonas. A quick hello.
Hello.
Brilliant. And
that's good to be back.
It is. It is good that you're back. Brilliant. And I've just noticed there's a slight mistake here. Let me just get rid of that if I can. No, I can't. There we go. Right. Okay, so we've got the theme. Mrs. Moderator, how are you doing? Say a quick hello to us.
Good morning. I'm doing really well, thank you. Looking forward to a really good show today.
Brilliant. 120th show, folks, and only 21 sleeps until the big man peeps. So there we go. Fantastic. And we are into our, where are we? Blomp. There we go. Boom, there we are, boom. So we're just hoping we're on Leaders Live. I'm just trying to get the feed to come up at the moment. So while we're just on, yes, here we go. Fantastic. Okie dokie. So boom, oi oi people and hi gang, it's Leaders Live showtime, folks. And hurrah and huzzah. I'm going to laugh at my own jokes again today. I'm sorry about that. And it's just after 8:45 a.m. here in the UK. And loads of people are joining in. Fantastic. So we're live on Leaders Live. Spreading the love, folks. Spreading the love. Yabba dabba do. So, and we hope you enjoyed the groovy opener as well, gang. And this week we're delighted that we've been powered by Healthy Minds Club this week. Sponsor Kathy Heath, our sponsor, and look out for who's sponsoring us each week. And please let us know if our audio is coming through okay as well. So hopefully all is well. And if you're new to Leaders Live, a warm welcome to you, folks. And Leaders Live is a dynamic weekly talk show that generates business through networking, through community, and through extraordinary conversations that inspire, just like we're having today. And as I mentioned in the countdown, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and I host this weekly Leaders Live show that's built an awesome community of like-minded leaders. So please don't be shy. Join in. We'd love you to introduce yourself as you're doing already. Join in, interact in the comments, introduce yourself, network with the group, because we're talking about networking today. So actually, no excuse. Please start networking. We've only got 3 simple rules: a safe community, mutual respect, and no selling in the room, please. And our motto is I to the power of we. And a really easy way that you can show your support for this free show and all the effort we put into it. Boy, do we put a lot of effort into this. And you can use the buymeacoffee.com /Leaders Live and buy me 5 and you get a free half-hour coaching session. And it looks a bit like this, folks, if I can find the test. Here's a quick test for you. Yeah, there it is. And yep. So it's a bit of fun, and all proceeds go to the show, folks. So, so please feel free to use the buymeacoffee.com /Leaders Live or / I can never remember which way around it is. Smash those likes as well, folks. So, and those thumbs up as well. We'd really appreciate that. That keeps us motivated. Love that bell. So few, put it all together. What have you got? Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. You'll be singing that song all day. So let's bring in our Leaders Live Hangout guest today, Jonas. How you doing, Jonas?
I'm good. I had to manhandle the sun a bit because for once it is deciding to shine. Of course it is. The only day where it is actually annoying, it is shining. It is shining.
It's shining right in your face. Well, it's good to have the sun.
So, but it is good. Yeah, it's nice to see it that once time in December.
Yeah, indeed. And where are you from, Jonas? Where are you calling from at the moment?
Denmark, and more specifically Fredericia.
Lovely. Okay, and whereabouts is that in the country in Denmark for us, just so we can locate you geographically in our heads?
Well, it is right where if you have the big archipelago Jutland, then it is right at the little bridge that goes from Jutland to Finland.
Lovely.
I'm basically living quite near to that bridge,
Lovely.
so near to the sea as well, and well, it is Denmark, so it is actually hard to not live near the sea.
Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. And as we mentioned in the countdown, Jonas, we've got we're going to be talking about networking alchemy and unveiling the magic of serendipity. And Jonas, you are a consummate networker, and you work for UNICEF now as the assistive technology and partnership specialist. And we'll be talking about networks. So give us a little bit of, just a direction of travel. Where are we heading today, Jonas? Just give us a quick introduction to where you're taking us.
I mean, we're going to talk a bit about how I used, well, basically curiosity and, as you said, serendipity to kind of get from where I was to where I am now in basically record timing. It was basically, I mean, I've been networking for many years, actively since 16 or something like that. So quite a long time, actively on LinkedIn since that time, and I used this from going basically 1.5 years ago. I decided to start my own company, and well, basically from scratch, nothing, and past during these 1.5 years, I have been able to network myself from basically unemployable to being employed as a specialist at the UN. So quite a journey.
Absolutely. So from unemployed to UNICEF and working with the UN, that's a fantastic journey in itself. And we've also got an audience question as well. I don't know if you've got that handy, unless you want me to say it, Jonas, that just to get the audience going on our networking journey this morning. Have you got that to hand, or do you want me to say it?
No, I actually have it.
Brilliant.
Tell us an example of an unexpected serendipitous network opportunity or chance meeting that became a game changer in your own professional journey.
There we go. So here's a chance for you to interact with us on the show. This just gets it all started. Sarah's put it in the feed. Give us an example of an unexpected or chance networking opportunity or chance meeting that became a game changer for your professional journey. And answers on a postcard in the feed, please, would be fantastic. Thank you very much. And great that Tilly's with us this morning as well from South Africa, doing the comments for us, as well as Sarah. So Sarah finds it hard to get the links into the feed. So Tilly can. We don't know why LinkedIn's a bit funny like that. And let's talking about Mrs. Moderator. Let's bring Mrs. Moderator in. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Boom, that was a snowball that was just sent out. I hope you like
living dangerously, I like to see.
I love this Christmas theme, it's brilliant. Yes. Okay, yeah, how you doing, Sarah, anyway?
I'm doing all right, thank you. It's
Brilliant.
Good to see some, lots of people online. Nice to see Paul Winfield back on.
Yeah.
Good morning, John Attridge, glad you made it.
Hey.
Anita, loving the festive theme.
Yeah, thanks, Anita.
So, yeah, here we go. So, and
Mateus, I think, somewhere or other.
Yeah, I'm just looking at. I was just looking at Mateus's comment. There's one further down. Denmark is a great country. We have a saying in Norway: "It's great to be Norwegian in Denmark." Perhaps because beer in Denmark is very cheap compared to Norway.
That is coincidentally also that the reason for us being so happy. So.
There we go. So
it's all down to the beer, folks.
Of course,
exactly.
Of course it is. I mean, but back to the comments. So
yeah, sure.
John Attridge says networking is one of the 9 must fish in ponds.
Yeah.
Sorry, is one of the 9 must fish in ponds to attract consistent customers. It stops that feast famine that most people encounter in business, especially sole traders.
Well said, Jean. Well said. Yeah, and it looks like did we get another comment from, was it Anita or something? I couldn't see something or other.
Yeah, Anita says she's meeting Tilly.
There you go. There's
Nothing you need to comment on. I'm doing the commenting.
That's fine. Yeah, I was just interested in meeting Tilly. So Tilly's online as well. So there you go. There's a little bit of networking for us. Okay, so there we are. And yep, thanks, Mrs. Moderator, Sarah Jenkins. And first question for you, Jonas. I'm just trying to bring up the right scene. Where's it gone? The side-by-side scene. Here we go. So look, you're a great networker, Jonas. Tell us a little bit about your networking approach for us.
I mean, my approach, I actually want to start somewhere else, if I may. One of the things I actually depose when talking about network is the idea that networking has to be done in specific ways and at specific events. I think that's stupid. Of course, it's good if you want to meet people. It's a good thing to go to a networking event, but you should never only be networking at networking events, because it is actually what is going on everywhere else that is the opportunity for meeting people. Because meeting people at a networking event, then they have an agenda for who they want to meet, and you want to meet some other peoples, and then it's all tangled up. The best way I'm doing network is basically just meeting people random places and just getting talking with them. And more often than not, it actually turns out to be people that is great for my network, that I end up meeting completely by chance. I can give you an example from
Please
what was
do,
it,
yeah.
last week or something like that. I was on my way home from work, and I sat in a very crowded train, and I got talking to the lady well besides me, and it turned out she was the CEO of an organization organizing what's it called, nurses here in Denmark. So and that turned out to be a very good conversation, and we ended up being connected on LinkedIn.
Amazing.
Completely by chance.
Completely by chance. Yeah. And trains are really interesting places to meet people. And we did a poll on that, which we'll do right now while we're talking. Jonas, let's just bring up the poll. So me and Jonas designed this poll as the build-up, part of the build-up for this show. And similar to the question which we've asked you guys to interact with on the theme of networking, what's been your most unexpected place where you've met interesting people by chance? And then we got public place, street, cafe, etc. Traveling, plane, trains, automobiles, things like that. Waiting rooms, doctors' surgeries, airports, things like that. And train stations, and also others, and to allow you to specify wherever. It's quite interesting listening to the story or reading the stories of chance meetings that people have had.
It was actually.
Very interesting. And 68% of people said traveling was a major place where they've met people along the way. What say you, Jonas?
I was a bit in a problem, because I wanted to be able to say all of the above, because that is basically where I have met people. But I'm not surprised actually that people are meeting on journeys. Well, I often get bored on journeys, so I end up looking for people to talk with. So that might be one of my reasons. So, but yeah, in airports is probably a good place to network, because you can often see who is struggling to get hold of all the kids, and who is actually on business trips, and people on business trips are often willing and looking for people to talk with. So they are often also good networkers. So it's quite understandable.
Yeah, I was on a train the other day, Jonas, and I was going to do a keynote actually with the sponsors, Healthy Minds Club, our sponsors, and it was in London. And I was sitting opposite a lady, and she had a bunch of cue cards. So, and I had a bunch of cue cards. So we kind of looked at each other. And I just started the conversation with her. I said, "So are you giving a keynote?" She said, no, I'm not giving a keynote, but I'm going to an event where there is a keynote and I'm introducing the keynote. Have you got any tips? So literally, we just connected from there and we just started to talk. And she was an events organizer. So, it's quite amazing who you meet on trains, isn't it, Sarah? It's quite amazing who you meet on trains. Just bring Sarah in for a moment.
Yeah, you want to be careful talking to people on trains. You never quite know what might happen.
You never quite know. Yes. So,
Long-time commitments from
I
from
met
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, long-term commitments. Yeah. So I met Sarah on a train 30 odd years ago. So, and that's how we got dating, and that's how we ended up getting married, just from that train journey. And you know what, Jonas, she was the one that picked me up. I wasn't doing any of the picking up. So
I bet you were sitting like a choir boy and not saying anything. That's my.
Yeah, you can do that, can't you?
So what's going on in the feed then, Sarah?
Oh, loads
going on. Let's pick up these.
So here
let's have a look.
Going to pick up from Steve Whittle. Good morning,
Steve. Right,
this is
Stevie.
lovely, actually.
Morning.
Without meeting Andrew Jenkins through Cooper Parry about a working partnership, I wouldn't have understood how important Tough to Talk's mission is and wouldn't have started the charity. Networking can be the inspiration for change that you need to make.
Yeah, and we featured Steve's charity, Tough to Talk, which is preventing male suicide, over the whole month of November. And it was an absolute delight to do that for you, Steve. And Steve's going to be our guest in January. He doesn't know the date yet. I need to email that date to you, but probably the first week in January, somewhere like that, Steve, if you can make that. What else is going on?
Matthias, in my case, it was a game changer when I attended a full-day seminar outside of Bergen. One of the lecturers was talking about public sector's buying strategy of services, and I ended up having a chat with her after the lecture. She was impressed about my work and told me she'd like to recommend me to a colleague and perhaps arrange a collaboration of some kind. This has turned into a game changer for sure.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And, what's the key here? The key, Jonas, is this just to be awake and to, attract that kind of thing, just to be curious?
I think the key, the most important thing is to know where you're going. Have a direction you want to be traveling in, and of course you cannot be by chance. Of course you cannot foresee who you're going to meet.
Of course.
But having this having this idea of where you want to be going, you have an idea of
the conversation, I guess, not the journey, but the conversation. Yeah.
Do you have an idea of who would be important for you to get where you want to go to? This is something that has been featuring in my journey. So, I mean, if the conversation, I like speaking with people, but if the conversation is going in a direction well, that's not going to help me much. I'm of course going to be finishing the conversation, but quite soon in a conversation, if the person you're talking to will be able to kind of further your journey into where you want to be going.
Okay.
So, just be open and be curious about people.
Okay, so be open, be curious, peeps, and have an intention.
And,
I think is
be
what
yourself.
I'm picking up. Be yourself.
Most importantly,
authentic.
Be yourself and be authentic.
Yeah. And be willing to open up a little bit. And it's a bit like the Johari's window, isn't it? If I share a bit about me, then you'll share a bit about you, and that's how we'll start and engage a conversation. And be interested, Indeed. I suppose, as well, Jonas. So be interested, be authentic, be open, and be wide awake and see what's going on. Let's just bring up Mrs. Moderator again. What else is going on? There's so much in the feed. We only just started.
So I think this one's Kieran.
Hi, Kieran.
The biggest one for me didn't directly involve me, but a chance meeting between two people on a plane who both knew me from some post on LinkedIn. That chance meetings had a massive fun impact it created for all three of them.
Isn't that interesting? So
brilliant. Notorious, that's what you are, Kieran.
That is amazing. And you were first connections, and that is just amazing. And that's what brought the conversation to be so exciting, I suppose, Kieran. Really interesting, fascinating. What else, Sarah?
John Attridge, 20% of new contacts are met by chance.
Oh, wow.
80% are met by good planning, though. He likes to play the percentage game.
Okay, so yeah, but I suppose if you meet someone by chance, then actually you have another meeting with them, which then increases the percentage game. I'm wondering. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just saw one of my mates wrote a comment. Nikolai, I don't know if you can take that up, Sarah.
Yes, I've just seen Nikolai's comment.
Hello, Nikolai. Morning.
Personally, I like bars to meet new people, but not too late at night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you're
Actually,
go on.
there's a little funny story about Nikolai. I also completely met Nikolai completely by chance, and it also turned out to be quite a change for me. Nikolai was a founding member of the organization Entrepreneurs with Disabilities. Well, it has a Danish name, obviously, but it is an organization, well, quite by the name suggests, an organization for trying to be a network for other entrepreneurs out there with disabilities, potentially around the world.
Right.
And now I'm a chairman in that organization, and it has been a fantastic journey to get to know Nikolai and the other fantastic people in that organization. So a little shout out to Nikolai and the organization.
Brilliant. Well done. Thank you. And great to have you on the show, Nikolai. And Mrs. Moderator, carry on.
Right, here we go. So, Tilly, the networking key objective is to remain interested in the other person and try not to be interesting. Let them talk. You listen to understand, not to respond.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to understand. Yeah. Seek to understand before being understood, right?
Absolutely. Steve Whittle, to be interesting, be interested.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Very nice.
Here we go. Great one from John Attridge. He interviewed the founder of BNI, Ivan Misner. He asked, "What have you been up to recently?" And he said, "I've been on Necker Island planning the first networking event in space with Richard Branson."
Cool. Name dropper.
You wouldn't expect that as an answer, would you?
I'll be in the bar if you want me.
Yeah, I'll come. Yeah, count me in. Yeah. Especially if it's a free networking event, even better.
Anita says, when you're passionate about your subject, that can inspire. She was talking with someone recently about what she does, and he asked her to send a proposal. And she'll be forwarding that to him later today. Be interesting to see where that one goes.
Yeah, that's a lovely, lovely story, Anita. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Nikolai, happy to be here. Make sure you're here next week then as well, please.
Yeah, Nikolai.
Long time commitment.
Yeah, we'd certainly like to network with you.
You need to subscribe.
And that's the other thing, isn't it? You know, this is, need to subscribe. You know, this is also about, having a longer term plan as well, which is exactly what Sarah's just said, and not just the curiosity, but to follow up, as John said, that it might be a 20% meeting, but if you follow up, then, you can then take that further. And talking about chance meetings, the other day, Sarah and I were in Barnstable, and we were just watching a procession of graduates, and I just remarked, said, "Oh, look, there's a bunch of graduates coming down the road. There's some sort of procession going on." And then this lady piped up, who's standing next to me, and said, "Yeah, it's the Petroc graduates ceremony today, and I'm the head of business there, and I'm taking the photographs." And we just got talking, and from there, I had a meeting with Petroc the other day, and it was absolutely fascinating. So good shout out for Petroc, and thank you very much for meeting me following just a chance meeting that we're now taking a bit further. So it's just amazing who you can meet on trains, planes, on the street, in cafes, in the pub, wherever. Brilliant. Anything else, Sarah, that you want to talk about here?
Tilly's just remind us, anywhere there's a queue in the supermarket, wherever you've always got opportunities.
I like that.
Here we go. Maria Jeffers, love this comment, Maria. Thank you very much. In terms of great networking, Leaders Live has really helped me. I love the authentic connections I have made. That's what we're about.
Yeah, that's what we're about. Yeah, exactly. Jonas, what do you say?
I want to agree completely with you, Maria. And also lovely to get to know you, by the way, Maria. And in Leaders Live, and talking about chance meetings, if I remember correctly, I at some point looked at the followers I had on LinkedIn, and there was this guy called Andrew Jenkins who looked interesting, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to call him and see who he is, and well, now we are here, so
Yeah.
talking about commitments.
Isn't that interesting? So that just started out by you being curious, reaching out, and then we had a
Indeed.
conversation, and then lo and behold, this Leaders Live came up, which has been going 2.5 years now, and like Maria and Mateus and other people on the show, and Anita now, and Tilly and others, and John, we form this regular chit chat online, which is fantastic, and it's all about those networking opportunities. So use the networking in this group as well, folks, which is why we set this up, as one of the reasons we set this up. So, in your experience, Jonas, how can individuals strike that balance between being sort of, oh, someone's brought me a coffee, Kieran O'Donnell. Thank you very much. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together. Thanks, Kieran, for the coffee. That's brilliant. So in your experience, how can individuals strike a balance between being authentically curious while also ensuring they communicate their intentions, as you were talking about earlier, having that clear plan in your head? How do you do that? How do you strike that balance, Jonas?
I mean, of course, it's per conversation, right? There's never one way fits all conversations. But as I said to the previous question, you quite easily early on in the conversation understands if this conversation is going to be somewhere where you can that can open some doors for you. If this is a conversation that can open some doors for you, my best suggestion is to be very, very listening and be interested in the other person's talk, because well, often if you let the other person tell you what they want to tell you, then often there's a quid pro quo, right, where they want to know about what you do, and then you can decide what angle to start the conversation up with. I mean, if I started the conversations up with saying, "Hey, oh, by the way, I know everything about the exoskeletons," that the conversations would go down quite quickly, because most people don't know what exoskeletons is. But talking with people, for example, the lady who is working with this nurse institute, right? Well, we got to talking about, well, there's a lot of benefits for people for using exoskeletons for not getting worn down, and then it made sense to talk about them. But it wouldn't make sense to just talk about them out of, well, I know a lot about them, so I could tell you a lot about them. That's not what people want. People don't want to be told things. They want a quid pro quo where you can talk a little bit about you, and they can talk a bit about what they do, and that way allow people to have a conversation instead of just blabbering about what you can contribute to their work.
I'm with you. So there's some intention there, isn't there? And there's a little bit of back and forth to get the conversation, fluid and lubricated, and then it's having the skill, Jonas, if you like, the foresight, the skill to take the conversation somewhere, that's got a direction of travel that kind of picks up where they are and picks up where you are and tries to find a join or a match or something along those
Indeed.
lines, right? Okay.
Indeed.
And that's about actually, having initially the listening ears, of course, but it's also the courage to take the conversation somewhere. That's really interesting what you've just said about, nursing, for example, with that nurse that you met by chance, and she happens to work as a CEO in an organization that has influence. And because of that, you are then able to introduce the subject of exoskeletons, which is for those of you that don't know, exoskeletons are pieces of sort of automatic machinery that help people to walk if they're in wheelchairs, etc., which is fascinating, and they can stand up and walk just like you and I, right, Jonas?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's basically a robotic suit you can take on. Well, not as advanced as Iron Man, but enables people to do things. Well, basically enables people to do the things they want for longer, be that work or be that life.
Yeah, and I think the other thing here too, Jonas, is just something that triggered me in what you're saying. I'll come back to comments in a minute because there's some fantastic comments coming in the feed. It's interesting because when you meet people by chance, they're not people you necessarily work with day on day. So they're not in the same bubble as you. And I use that word really purposefully because when we're in work and we connect with people in our industry or even just in our organization or in organizations similar to us or customers that we interact with, that's one thing. But that's quite a bubble because it's just a small bubble of your experience. However, when you're on the train, planes or automobiles or waiting rooms, doctor surgeries, wherever we meet people, even on the street as we've just talked about, invariably you're meeting people that are from different backgrounds, and that means that their experience is different, but you're now connecting at a human level and making connections with people that are different in a different sector from you completely, but still finding those connections to make some sort of business sense out of it. Jonas, what say you? Just a thought.
But actually, that's a brilliant question, Andrew. And I would say that these are actually the connections I cherish the most, because if you only find people from your own industry, from your own, basically your own job, LinkedIn really tries to connect me with people with similar jobs, which is fine. But the most interesting connections are often the ones coming from different sectors, because differences, well, differences in mindset and differences in backgrounds often. Well, we talked about this the last time with the cauldron, where you basically put every things in and something brilliant comes out, right? Where different people with different mindsets often sparks new ideas and unexplored opportunities.
There's the secret, isn't it? So it's that sort of finding people that are from wider experiences from you, that actually you can then talk about ideas, and you end up sort of putting ideas, both of you, into this crucible, or with Kieran's example, three of you that you've just met by chance somewhere as you're traveling, and that sparks new ideas. That's really interesting. Let's give you a break for a quick moment. Mrs. Moderator, Sarah, what's going on in the feed?
Oh,
Let's
lots
catch
of
up.
good stuff. Lots of good. Here we are. Question for Jonas from John Attridge.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on networking online or in situ?
Oh,
What are the
good
pros and
question.
cons?
Oh, John comes out with a question, doesn't he? That's beautiful.
I mean, given that I'm going back to Leaders Live for answering this question. Good question, by the way. I would say, for me, it doesn't matter actually. I like networking online. I like networking in person. It doesn't really matter to me. What I like about networking online is the opportunity to network over vast distances where you wouldn't be able to network
Indeed.
physically. Well, you could do, but it would take a lot of time. I mean, I have met with people from all over the world because they have been interested in what I've been doing, and they wanted to learn more. And but basically from China, India, well, Europe, obviously, the US, both East and West Coast, and Latin America is basically where I have been able to network. I could have done that in person, but it would have taken a lot more time and a lot more money for me to reach the people I have. So, but I do like personally networking, and we're talking about doing this. Well, Andrew's talking about doing this Leaders live, right? And I would definitely come to the UK for the opportunity to meet you guys in person, because personally meeting gives something to the conversation that online cannot.
I completely agree. Yes, it's a great start for 10. I once met an American company online, and we just talked on Zoom. This was pre-pandemic. So, and we found this thing called Zoom, which was a free meeting. Wow, there's video as well. It was like, woo! This was like 2018, and we ended up creating a synergy, a partnership between us as an American company and me in the UK. And we delivered high performance teamwork to a number of American companies just like that, and that all originated from a Zoom conversation. So there we are. Sarah, anything else?
Yeah, another pearl of wisdom from John. Old mate once told him about networking. The fortune is in the follow up. So
Yeah.
many meet and you never hear from them again.
Isn't that true?
Mhm.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's brilliant. We had Darren Stanton on the show, the body language expert, a couple of weeks back, and he was brilliant, wasn't he? And we had a fantastic conversation with him. And if you didn't see it, watch the replay. He was really, really good. And we talked about all sorts of things body language wise. And I'm meeting him tomorrow in Derby somewhere. So that'll be great fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. So the follow up, John is
Somewhere.
absolutely right. Yeah, somewhere in Derby. Yeah.
Now, if you're listening, it's in the calendar, and he really does know.
well, it's actually at Tom Hortons if you want to come along. So anyone who wants to come along can just it's at 12 o'clock at Tom Hortons near Costco.
That just sounds so much like me when I don't know, I'm going somewhere that way. Probably meet the people I need.
I'm rubbish with my diary, so Sarah manages all that lot. So fantastic.
I'll give you a reminder in the morning. Here we go.
Brilliant,
Matthias.
Matthias.
There's a problem we have in Norway. People often tend to stick with people from their own industries, rarely being interested in talking with people from other backgrounds. So many lost opportunities right there, and a mindset shift he's working on happening.
And that is so true, and actually Matthias is a digital nomad as well. So he's been traveling from country to country and networking and things like that, which is a really fresh approach. But you're spot on, don't network just in your small group, widen the network out, which is why, it's so important just to meet people by chance and then to follow up, as John says. Then these are some of the key aspects here. And just another question for you, Jonas. How much of this is just luck? Is it just luck, or what is it?
But that's the funny thing with serendipity, isn't it? Because what is serendipity? Yeah. What is networking? What is serendipity? You can have all the. I mean, I have heard people have strategies for networking, and they try to meet the right people. And if you try to, a bit like if you want to find something, you will never be able to find it. If you're looking for something else, you'll probably find the thing you looked for in the first place. And the same will I would say the same is present in networking. I roughly have an idea. Well, I've been networking so long now, so I can roughly see when I'm going into a room who is, well, not important. That is a wrong way of saying it, but who is the person I need to talk to. And I'm going with a kind of a not a strategy. I'm just said I'm not using strategies, but my way of networking is basically into three different categories. I see network. Well, key persons in the network is the person you really need to go and talk to. That is that person that really can make a difference. Then there's the gatekeeper, which is maybe the person you need to convince to be able to talk to, that person that really makes the decisions. And then the third part is network boosters, which is, as we talked about, people from other industries that are not necessarily going to be able to change in something in your life, in your journey, but by knowing them and know that they will be able to, for example, on LinkedIn, if they like what you do, then all of their network will see what they liked. So that is basically just a way to increase the reach of your network. That is basically how I network, and that is also true when networking at physical events, where when you I don't know how, but you are often able to see when looking at an audience who is the person you need to be talking with.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it might be a nod, it might be just an unconscious connection, something like that, but something prompts you, isn't it? But you have to be kind of wide awake to perceive that, Jonas, I'm wondering,
Yeah,
which
of
is where the
course.
luck piece comes in, maybe. That whole thing about
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
it's not
you
luck,
can have
it's
all
just
the strategies in the world, but you'll have to be lucky to talk to the right person.
Yeah, indeed. And I just, what you've been talking, I've just been scribbling a few notes and thinking about what's the strategy you're using here, and kind of just teasing it out here. And you talked about sparking new ideas earlier, and I think for me, there's something about what you do here, Jonas, is that you set the intention particularly when you're traveling, to be open to meet new people, and that's an intention which you set prior to the journey, but it's just something you have in your mind, which is that luck principle, but maybe that just sets up because there's the preparation. I wonder who I'll meet on my journey today. So that's the first bit, and I want to attract those new people, right, Jonas?
Well, to be honest, the whole thing, what probably made me such a good networker is the fact that I'm in a wheelchair. But that might be a weird thing. But given that I was in a wheelchair, and people have this innate, I always had to be the one starting the conversations up, and I always had to kind of reach out to people, because people always had this. How are we going to talk to a person with with a disability?
Interesting.
So I had to. I wanted to talk with people, so I had to initiate the
You
conversation.
had to initiate it, yeah. And do you know what? Sorry, go on, carry on. Yeah.
No. I was done.
Yeah, there's a guy called Milton Erickson, which he started most of his early life in an iron lung because he had polio. And because of the polio thing, he had a severe polio attack, and it disabled him for many, many years. And he was in an iron lung for a lot of his growing up. And because he was in an iron lung, he had to use his influence to talk to people. And so he learned, I mean, it's just crazy how these things work, but he learned to become a brilliant connector of people and a brilliant rapport builder, because he had to be, because he wanted to get interaction, he wanted to get things done, but he, rather than feeling sorry for himself, he set the intention of being able to build rapport with people brilliantly. And Milton Erickson then became one of the greatest hypnotherapists on the planet, who was able to build rapport even with a lamppost. He was just an incredible guy. And it all came because he set the intentions. And the other thing that you do is that you somehow in your mind you attract the right person to come along. That might be a gesture, it might be a curiosity. You might just connect with your eyes with somebody because you're looking for that open chance to have a connection. And then you make the connection, and then you start the conversation going. And if that's not the right person, I'm wondering, one of your other strategies that you ask, well, who is the person that I need to connect with in your organization? So you're looking for those onward connections as well, Jonas. Is something that you said earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to basically just ask people, but it's also good to be honest and be yourself. But also, it is okay to be new. It is okay to not know who you need to be talking to. Again, back to the whole thing about networking events. I have seen so many people being afraid of what clothes they need to be wearing, how they're going to look. Do they need to look? I mean, the big tuxedo to be able to talk to people. And I was a bit like that in the beginning, and I realized, no, it doesn't. Well, of course, you should uh, be business casual, of course, when going to these kind of things, but just be yourself.
Just be yourself. Yeah.
Your experience and your knowledge is what they are after in the first place.
So be yourself. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's just bring Mrs. Moderator, because there's some questions coming up, I think, and it'll be interesting now. The questions are starting to flow now, so let's bring Sarah in.
Here we go. Yes, and comments from Anita.
And
some people focus too much on making a sale, which is off-putting. When she lets go of that and puts herself in their shoes, plus just enjoy talking about the topic, it's so freeing and more likely to get interest.
Just like you've just said there, Jonas.
Yeah, and she also goes to say, someone once said to her, luck is just chance and preparedness.
Oh, yeah, lady after my own heart. I completely agree with that. Yeah.
I love that. I actually
That's tickled Jonas.
I want to get back on this with the sale. Sale should never be the intention of the first encounter with persons.
Quite right.
But then it's going to be like when you're going into a shop. Oh, by the way, do you want this? No, I want information. You should always, a sale should be the second and or maybe third time you're talking with the person, because you need to build up the authenticity. You need to build up some kind of a rapport with the person. Brilliant. Before you try to sell. If you're just trying to sell, then the people will say, "Oh, that's nice. Bye bye."
Yeah. Sarah, what say you? Thank you.
Steve Whittle, networking is KLT. Know me, like me, trust me.
Yeah, no, like, trust. And we talked about that on the show with Kieran and Rebecca as well.
Yeah. Here we go. A bit more from John. The more you look, the more you get off your phone in the street or on the train, the luckier you get with chance encounters.
Yeah.
Get your phone.
The more you look, the more you find. That is so true. The more you look, the more you find. The more you ask questions, the more information you get. Yeah, love that.
Good question from Rebecca. Jonas, what cues do you look for those who don't want to talk?
Oh, Rebecca, what a great question. Morning, Rebecca.
And hello, Rebecca. But that is body language. Yeah. I couldn't say, but it's
go away.
I couldn't explain how I do it. It's just I immediately see that people either, well, that's basically a closed body language, and that can, once in a while, I'll try to start a conversation with a person that really doesn't look like they want to start a conversation, just as a kind of a test to see if there's
if you can do it. And they've got ticker tape written over their head going, "Go away, go away, go away."
Yeah, exactly.
Such a challenge.
A big smile and basically not. A lot of people, when they have high positions, try to impose this high position nonsense. So they basically overinflate their importance. And I never. I mean, I wouldn't say I have a high position, but I never want to impose my position when talking with people, because my position is secondary in terms of the importance of meeting new people and being able to network. Because you might lose out on meeting people that is just beginning on this journey. Do remember that people are all the time starting out being nervous and being thoughtful what they're wearing and thinking, oh, am I important enough to talk to that person? Never ever be too important to talk to people, no matter what status, no matter where they are in their life.
Oh, I like that. Never be too important. Never think yourself too important just to talk to people. And one of the clues which I'm just wondering about the way you work, Jonas, and teasing that out, is that I think you enjoy meeting people as people. You are curious about who they are and what they do, but you have that innate ability to make that person relax, that you're not just talking about work or what they do, and that's part of the conversation, but you're also as interested in them as people. And when people feel that they are being, that you are interested and you're asking them about them, and they feel that, then that's what you're drawing out, I'm wondering. Jonas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, people, I'm interested in the whole person. I'm not, well, of course I'm interested in their work, but only being interested in their work is only enable you to learn maybe a half, or maybe half of what that person is. Because one thing is, when you want to add somebody to your network, you want to add somebody to your network that has at least similar values that you have. So in order to know the values of the person, you need to get to know that person.
Yeah. And it's almost like what you're doing there. She mentioned the crucible earlier, and a crucible is like a mixing pot. For those of you that just want a definition of that, it's how you make metal. You put metal in a crucible and you heat it up, and you can create new alloys and things like that. So the whole thing about the crucible is a beautiful thing. So it sounds to me that when you're meeting people, Jonas, you've got this sort of I don't know, this pretend virtual crucible in front of you. And what you're interested in is both your ideas and their ideas, and popping all of these things into the crucible and stirring them up and heating it gently. And then out of that conversation in the crucible, if you like, if the crucible's the conversation, when you're stirring the conversation and you're both working on it, that something magic comes out of it, and it's a gift, that you both enjoy, or all three of you, if you're Kieran's example, where you could have multiple people all joining into a random conversation, not just one person. But there comes the idea, and both walk away, or both are excited to add things into the crucible once it gets going. So it's almost like you present the crucible to somebody, and you get excited by it, and they're then contributing too. So you create the atmosphere, you create the crucible, but they're then able to add their comments into the crucible, and together you both enjoy the journey of exploring together, but you both also walk away with a gift. I'm wondering, Jonas.
Absolutely.
That gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Again, with meeting people, I always love to. I mean, meeting three people from three different industries is perfect, because that enables the situation to get in any random direction that could potentially be interesting. What I also very much like, uh, not only do I like networking, but I also very much like to be able to network people, to connect people with other people that needs to be connected, and I especially find that interesting when those people are able to do something together. I haven't talked. Sorry, I haven't talked much about this, but I have been quite involved in Ukraine, where I have been well, basically trying to connect companies, well, assistive technology companies, and prosthetic companies, and companies of any who makes anything that is useful for the people in Ukraine that unfortunately are well, losing
Victims of
limbs,
war. Yeah,
and
victims of
being
war. Yeah.
victims of war. And I haven't talked about this because I didn't want this to be. I didn't want to profit
I understand.
on their behalf. So basically, I have basically for maybe a year, something like that, been connecting companies with other people in Ukraine to kind of get this inflow of assistive technology to Ukraine, and that is
Beautiful.
an example of. I mean, I'm not in any way profiting on this. I'm doing this completely because this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So, and that is an example of, well, what I like. I like connecting people, and I always have this in the back of my head when I'm talking to people: who would be a good match for you to be talking with in my network?
There you go. So there it is, Jonas. What you're doing there is you're using your. I love this phrase by someone in the group, Anita, I think it is. Conversational alchemy. You're using your conversational alchemy to create an outcome that isn't just for you, but could be for other people, and part of your role. And John Attridge is really good at this. John connects people to people. And he's brilliant at that, actually. And it's not just about you. Then it's about a cause that's bigger than you, but you can be the mediator because of your skills of being a networker. You're able to bring people together and let them carry on without you getting in the way. I love that.
Indeed.
Yeah, love it. Thank you, Jonas. Just a quick one, Mrs. Moderator. What's going on? We're just mindful of the time as well.
Just another comment from Matthias, and another example about being yourself.
Oh, yes.
He got a friend, Denise Horan, who told him that she made the decision to start her own thing when her then employer disliked that she spoke about football with clients. They said they may support another team than you, and they might not sign up for the deal. You need to be professional and neutral. But he said, with being professional and neutral, it's very hard to build relationships. People want to buy and collaborate with people.
Yeah.
So she decided to do it her way, and it works. Football is not a barrier. It doesn't matter who you support, or does it? But yeah, it's
even with an Arsenal fan,
it's not a barrier. And I think it's about being interested. And while you were talking, Jonas, I was thinking, you know, if you're very much an introvert, thought of networking can be quite horrifying
and daunting. Yeah.
But I think, you know, if you can get people like to talk about themselves. So if you can go and ask somebody about themselves, then all you have to do is listen. So it's not as daunting after all.
Yeah, because you're not talking about you, right? You're talking about the other person. You're engaging the other person. Yeah. Yeah, well said, Sarah. And you know, you're an introvert, Sarah, and you know, you manage to introduce yourself to other people because you're curious about them, right?
Yeah, I think
there's the importance. It is the curiosity.
Yeah.
And
There
I
you
think
go.
that's it. Be yourself and be curious.
Be yourself and be curious. I really like that. And yeah, what a fantastic conversation. I mean, actually, it sounds like we always need a round two of these, don't we? Particularly now we're talking about Man United and Arsenal as a conversation starter. I love that. I love the
then
phrases.
You need another guest than me because I am the most neutral person compared to when it comes to sport. I don't give a flying fucks.
Technical word, folks. Technical word.
No, flying fox is the thing.
Brilliant. So,
I'll throw us out on that one. So definitely a technical term.
Definitely a technical term. Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you very much, Jonas. And we've had a great time with you today. And
it's great to be here as always.
Yeah, just extraordinary conversation. So relaxed, so easygoing, you know, and just a little bit about us as well, you know. But look, if you want to get hold of Jonas, you know, his contact details. Hopefully, Tilly will put them into the feed. Please connect with Jonas and what he's doing, particularly as the assistive technology and partnership specialist at UNICEF, and what he's doing for disabled, the cause of disabled people, and his cause around the Ukraine, and you know, getting people to walk, you know, in a world where people in wheelchairs is a fantastic big goal of yours and a massive intention. So anything that you can do to help Jonas, then please do.
If I may, thank you very much. And yes, do please connect with me. I just want to add LinkedIn thinks I'm a big shot, so they want you to follow me, and I really want you to connect with me, because then we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, it's not just about hit the connect button; it's have the conversation with Jonas. And And I would agree with that. You know,
one-way connection, one-way conversation.
I mean, that's how I got to know you, Jonas, and brilliant. So thank you. And so a quick round of applause for our friend Jonas. There you go. Feel the love, Jonas. Feel the love.
Oh, I have to get a vacuum cleaner now.
Yeah, you'll be clearing that up for ages, and this snow here. And for me, if you want anything from a keynote speaking or a big think event in terms of facilitation, then please come to me for anything along those lines, or coaching, etc. And if you want to be coached around networking, you know, actually give us a call, and very happy to have a chat with you, and I'm with Jonas as well. So there we go. And a quick let's just bring up Sarah. A quick thing about Leaders Live before we disappear.
Yeah, just a reminder, there's a lot of love in the room for Leaders Live. So let's spread the love. It's Christmas. And, you know, if you've enjoyed it, tell your network, invite them. Say, I'm listening to this. You might find it interesting. Yeah. And obviously, if you're new to Leaders Live, please do subscribe, because you get so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and thanks to John for introducing me to Steve Mills. Hopefully Steve Mills may be listening. And yeah. So it's all about the connections, isn't it? And thank you very much, folks. And just some comments coming up here. Brilliant.
Don't just follow me, Anita. Go click the connect button.
Yeah, Anita. There you go. There you are. And the goose for next week, folks, just so that you know. So next week, we've got a real treat again, another treat. So we've got the CEO of My Perfect Neon, Emma Bramble, talking about lessons learned from setting up a startup. And Emma has been on the show a couple of times talking about her neon business. And in fact, the sign behind me here, Be Awesome, is one of hers. But her business has evolved massively. She was at the Olympia show the other day. She met Kevin McLeod. I'm dead jealous. And she'll be talking about all those lessons that she's learned. And so sort of, about business, about setting up a business, about the challenges of business, and about her business products and things like that. And, she's brilliant. And we will enjoy that conversation with Emma. She's a sparkly personality, just like Jonas, and we'll have an extraordinary conversation. So we think you're going to love it. So we can't wait. Be there or be square, folks. And we will close out now with our outro, and we'll wave goodbye to you from here. It's been great to hang out with you today, guys, online. And thanks for being part of our awesome show and creating such a great community of like-minded people. Podcast will be out shortly too. And that's a wrap from us, folks. So from myself, Jonas, Mrs. Moderator, Tilly, our sponsor, Healthy Minds Club, have a great week ahead. God bless you, and may God's love shine on you. Cheers for now. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks, Jonas. Cheers again. Bye-bye.
Thanks.